Hello again. Thank you for joining me for episode 7 of Buddha Bites. We're going to talk about corn pudding. I was first introduced to corn pudding by my boss, my longtime boss, who brought it in for the staff to try, and I fell in love with it. And I could not find a recipe for it, and for some reason I couldn't get the recipe from him. So this was what I found in the early days of the interwebs. This actually goes back to around this time, 12/21/1999. I found this from a total stranger on the internet. It's a super easy recipe that I have tweaked over the years. And no matter where I go, people love this at potlucks, my dinner parties. They rave about this simple dish. And I can rattle off the ingredients and the whole recipe to them at the dinner table. But we're gonna get into the kitchen and we're gonna do this right now. Corn pudding, super simple recipe. Remember, it used to just be this. So we start out with a small can of golden corn. Now I've already drained this, so this is one of those things where you just dump a whole bunch of stuff in a pot, in a bowl, and the same amount of creamed corn goes in. Just your basic stuff. I want every little once in a while to not try to do fancy things with you. It's not necessary to do something fancy all the time. So, regular old corns and a cup of sour cream. Now, I am not much for mathing, but measurements are something that I know. And a small container of sour cream is 8 ounces. 8 ounces is a cup. Easy. And everybody has this in your cupboard, right? The Jiffy Corn Muffin Mix. It's inexpensive. It is versatile. It is hard to open. There we go. We'll rip this right off. This goes in. Now, this is just 8.5 ounces in with everything else. I did want to share with you that when I went to the store, I discovered, and we're not even stirring this yet, I discovered that Jiffy has come up with different types, different versions of their corn muffin mix. This one is for a honey cornbread. I've done this corn pudding with the honey cornbread before. It's very nice. Now, we have vegetarians in our family. It never occurred to me that that Jiffy Mix is not vegetarian on its own. I looked at the ingredients of the original one. The original one has lard in it. So the vegetarian one, which by the way costs the same as the original, which I found interesting, they substitute the lard with vegetable shortening, which includes palm oil and soybean oil. So this is a good option for your vegetarians. I wouldn't say vegans because there's other stuff in there that vegans can't do. But I just wanted to let you know that there is a vegetarian option, also a little spruced up option with this. But we're going to put this aside for now because it does not play a role in the time we spend together today. Now, our beautiful egg. I was able to find my happy eggs. I was able to find them nearby. And not only the first one that we saw in the first episode when I did the scrambled eggs, but this is what they call a heritage egg. I really don't know what that means, but it is blue and brown eggs in this particular happy egg, which makes me happy. So we're going to do one egg. And remember from previous times that we've gotten together, we crack the egg on a flat surface. We don't crack it directly in the mixture that we're creating. We crack it in a separate bowl because just in case we get some shells in, that won't make it into our final dish. Now I've started to use my hands, which, as I've said before, are my best tool in the kitchen. 1 stick of butter. just 1 stick of butter. Now, this is softened. Some people will melt the butter, and that's fine. I tend to like to just soften it. And when I say soften, that means just leaving it out till it's about this consistency. And put that straight in. And I am going to go straight to the hands. I'm going to get into the greasy kid stuff. I do this with my hands because I want to make sure that all of the butter is incorporated. And the best way I can do that is to just get my hands straight in it. You see that this is a pretty decently put together mixture. I feel the corn kernels, there are the whole kernels, and then of course there is the creamed corn in here, and this is creating a lovely consistency. Now, this old recipe stops there, but I found that it tastes rather flat. You see, I haven't added salt, pepper, or anything else. So, real quick, I am going to get this off my hands, and we're going to add a little bit more flavor. Ooh. It also moisturizes the hands really well. All that butter. Alrighty, let's get back to it. Now, I use seasoned salt. Season to taste. Again, I'm going to say, friends, please season your food. You don't want your guests to be picking up the salt and pepper shaker at the table. Every little once in a while you'll have that one who wants to salt and pepper stuff before they've even tasted it. Let's try to head that person off at the pass. Get some salt and pepper in there. And by the way, I had to switch up to a larger. Is this not the most adorable spatula with these bears? I mean, any amount of joy that I can get in the kitchen, I will take. This cute little honey bear. And on the back, he's got a cup of coffee. He's got an ice cream cone. He's got a piece of pizza. He's got nothing at all. He's just got love for you. And my favorite, he's got a skillet. Oh, I love this little thing. Anyway, so we will incorporate all of this. And we will taste. That's the other thing. Look me in the eye, friends. Taste your food before you put it in the oven, if you possibly can. Now, some of the experts will say, well, this has raw egg in it, so you shouldn't be tasting it. I'm not going to disagree with that, but you have to know how something tastes before you put it in the oven, because you only really want to you really only get one chance to make it right. So the way to try to ensure that you are safe while tasting essentially raw batter is know where your eggs are coming from. If you know the source of your raw ingredients, you're a little better off, and you can more confidently taste your raw product. So I'm going to taste this now. It's pretty good. One of the reasons, and it's a little undersalted, but the reason why I can keep it this way is that I decided that I would add some festive holiday color and flavor in the form of green pepper, red bell pepper, onion, and garlic. So I did this last night. I held it at room temperature. This is going to add a decent amount of flavor and a wonderful color. Now, you can do your own thing with this corn pudding. You can add bacon to it. I've done that before. You can add, crumbled sausage. You're only limited by your imagination and your taste preferences. So look at this. I'm going to taste it one more time with a brand new spoon. I don't want you thinking I'm nasty in my house. You come to my house and you're afraid to eat my food because I'm eating out of my food, double dipping. So this is perfect. So we are going to move operations. We're going to take this over. And remember what we were talking about nonstick sprays? I had run out of nonstick spray. And I found this in the store. Now I want to talk to you about this. This says Ultimate No Stick Cooking Spray. And I was trying to figure out what made it ultimate. And the can just says that it's restaurant grade ingredients that deliver superior nonstick cooking performance at a wider range of temperatures. Don't take that as them suggesting that you should use it on your nonstick cookware. It almost gives the impression that you can. I would not. As I've said before, I prefer, as far as skillets are concerned, to use nonstick sprays on anything that I would be willing to put in the dishwasher. If I am not willing to put it in the dishwasher, it's not going to get nonstick spray. It's going to get oil, butter, that sort of an oil or fat. So I have sprayed this with nonstick spray because this is the sort of thing that would go into the dishwasher. And we are going to turn this into our beautiful gratin. Yes, and we're going to smooth it out a little bit and pop it in the oven. So we're smoothing it out. This just has a nice little hint of the beautiful colors. And I'm still tasting the white pepper that I used to season it. So I think it's pretty well seasoned. And we take this and we put it into an oven that has been preheating at 350 degrees. It's going to stay in here. I'm going to check it after 30 minutes. But it generally lasts, it takes about 45 minutes in my oven. That's just my oven. So while we have a moment, because this all went very quickly, I had teased this gorgeous Hinoki board, and yet I didn't cut anything on it. And so I figured this is a good opportunity to show off this beautiful board, to show why it's so friendly to a good chef's knife. I recommend this so highly. It is a splurge, but I love this thing, and every little once in a while I'll use it. So I'd like to show you how to cut a bell pepper. It's not the easiest thing, but once you figure out the sort of the contours of it, it is, I think, easy. This is one of the ways I do it. I take my knife, I will go around the side. I'll stop right here about halfway, maybe a little bit more. All of the seeds are still there. Some people like the seeds. I just don't like them. I pick them out no matter how many I see. So then you have managed, I'm going to tap this seed out. I got one seed, but mostly you have cut the whole pepper and there are no seeds. Now, I'm not going to waste this. I'm not even going to say it today. Garbage man's best friend. Yeah, I said it. If you want to go around with this, you can too, but that's a bit much. But we've gotten the essential parts of this pepper. Then I'm going to cut this in half, and I think I'm going to get rid of some of this white here too. So that's gone. And you have some great surfaces to cut very carefully your green peppers. So I cut my green peppers into a very small dice, as you saw. So what you do is you cut, I guess they call this matchsticks almost. But you hear this beautiful, I don't know if you hear it, the sound of this knife going into this pretty hinoki board. It's so soft that it protects this very fine blade. I love the hinoki for that. And then you turn your matchsticks around like we did previously and just make small dice. I won't dice them all now because I think you'll get the point. You see how small this dice is? If you think you can't do this because it's a tiny dice, you most certainly can. And if you feel uncomfortable once you get to the edge, then put your knuckle, you put your joint, I keep wanting to say knuckle, you put your joints right up against this knife. It's a guide for you. It keeps you from cutting into your finger by actually having your fingers in contact with this knife. And it keeps you safe. And look at this. Look at this teeny, 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 tiny dice that you have managed to make. Isn't that gorgeous? So this is great for this particular application. Super tiny, and it really wasn't any hassle at all. Takes a little bit of practice, but you can do it. So that's the little knife tutorial for today. But now let's take a look at the finished product of the corn pudding. Now this particular corn pudding I did just without the peppers. Some people have a sensitivity to peppers, but this, it took about, I think this took about 45 minutes in the oven. And we let it cool for a little bit. You see that it pulled away from the sides a tiny bit, but this is a perfect corn pudding. I can't wait to dig in. So let's get this into the dining room and have a little bit of lunch. All right, so this is my lunch for today. This gorgeous corn pudding, I've been waiting to spoon into this, and this has been cooling for a little while. It actually microwaves beautifully, so I'm gonna just give myself a little bit of a portion just to test it out because I have been craving this. Now, this is really, really versatile. I like this because you can really eat it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I will do a corn pudding at breakfast instead of toast, instead of a waffle, instead of a bagel. Corn pudding is a great option with a little bit of butter and syrup on it. Lunch is great if, say you have a bowl of chili. I would put this in the bowl and pour the chili around it, or the other way around, and put a little cheese on top, and it makes a great lunch. Or also you could do something super simple like this. I just put together a little bit of salad with what I had leftovers in the refrigerator. I had some extra pepperoni, some artichokes, and you can put a little bit of cheese in that. And I'm just going to put a little bit of dressing on that. And you have a nice, reasonably sized lunch. Now, it's not always about alcohol here. I have a SodaStream, as you know. And so I fizzed up some fizzy water, and I had from IKEA, actually, they sell this really nice elderflower syrup. And so I put a little bit of the elderflower syrup in there. You know, Whole Foods also has an elderflower beverage, but it's much more expensive than the IKEA alternative. So you get a nice little fizz. This is a soft drink, but it has the bubbles, so it feels festive. I am going to give enough of this. I am going to give this corn pudding a try, and I hope you do too. This turned out perfectly, and it goes so well. It's almost like a combination, like a cross between a cornbread and a pudding, like a British pudding. And it goes really well with just this simple salad. Yum. So, riff on this. Try it yourself. Like, subscribe, share. Tell me what you did to add to this very, very simple recipe. You're only limited by your imagination and your good taste. So, this is Iris Fairfax for Buddha Bites. I always say that you are the Buddha. You are. You deserve the best. You deserve to take good care of yourself. And this is a way to do it. Enjoy.